My name is Samuel Davis. I'm not been very good at making conversations with people since I was a kid. I'm introverted and don't have many friends. I can't even manage a part-time job interview properly, so I've been helping my grandpa with his work since I was young. My grandpa's a farmer and his house and farm are close to mine. I live with my mom in a single-parent household, and because she has a weak constitution, I've been working to contribute to the family income. My grandpa once told me, "Samuel, you're doing great. It's a big help having a man around." Being pessimistic and not fitting in at school, even getting bullied by the girls, having a place where I belonged meant everything to me. When I became a middle school student, I started studying farming on my own. The stories from my grandpa are enlightening and much more interesting than schoolwork. When the time I had to decide my future, I started thinking about seriously becoming a farmer. I probably wouldn't do well even if I proceeded to high school, and since our family is poor, it would be better to start working as soon as possible. If I could someday inherit the farm, I could alleviate the burdens on my grandpa and mom. So, after graduating from middle school, I decided to work as a farmer. But one day, my grandpa said to me with a solemn expression,
"You're a smart kid. You can make it as a farmer. But that's not enough."
Huh?
In the old days, you could run a business as long as your crops were good, even if you were a silent person. But now that won't cut it. Smooth talkers get all the good deals.
In other words, it would be tough for an introvert like me to make good money. Indeed, if two people were selling the same quality vegetables, I'd want to buy them from the one who is more sociable. Nowadays, even farming has entered an era where it's all about networking and aggressive marketing. It's meaningless to grow delicious vegetables if you can't sell them. I need to overcome my shyness. One day, as I was having such thoughts, I received a notice for a middle school reunion. I wasn't particularly excited, but my grandpa said, "This might be a good opportunity to get over your shyness. Go give it a shot." So I decided to go. The venue for the reunion was booked out, and it was bustling with a bunch of people when I entered. I was alone, just looking around without anyone to talk to. Then, I noticed a very beautiful woman at the front. She was stunning and had a great figure. She was wearing a brown dress and that was very chic, elegant. Did we have someone like her in our class? It's been quite a while since we graduated and I don't remember her name. But she probably doesn't remember me either. As I was thinking that, I was tapped on the back.
Samuel.
Michelle? It was Michelle Johnson, a classmate from elementary school. In our hometown, there's no one who doesn't know her. Her father is the president of a large corporation. She's the typical president's daughter. For some reason, Michelle came and sat next to me. Then, other classmates began to gather around Michelle. All of them had grown up to be very fashionable. I felt embarrassed in my boring attire. Though I'd been trying to keep out of the conversation, Michelle suddenly raised her voice.
Speaking of which, weren't you riding a tractor the other day?
Yeah, I've been farming since I graduated from middle school.
Really? You're a farmer right after middle school? No wonder. When you walked in, I thought you were some grandpa. Hilarious.
Haha. She was loudly saying this in front of everyone intentionally, and this made me feel like all the people in this store knew about it. The others looked at me with a mix of pity and cruel expression, like they'd found some entertaining tidbit.
I heard that even farmers are fashionable these days, but you're totally different, Samuel.
I don't really have many clothes.
I thought so. Haha.
Led by Michelle, everyone laughed all together. This was typical of her. She'd been teasing and bullying me for as long as I could remember. I could understand it during our school days, but I couldn't figure out why a person like her would still target someone like me. Then, one of our female classmates spoke to her.
Hey, Michelle, isn't that famous actress going to be in a commercial for your father's company? Do you get to meet her?
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Amazing. Have you ever met her? She was in a magazine recently.
A lively conversation began, and once again I was left out. Then Michelle said to everyone,
Hey, why don't we get together for drinks again with the same group? Let's meet next month.
Sounds great. I'm in.
Hey, Samuel, you should come too.
Sure. The moment she called me, I could almost hear the unspoken, why him, from everyone. Despite the fact that she had always mocked me, I wondered why she would want to see me. I need to use the restroom. Unable to bear the cold stares, I left the table. A few seconds later, laughter broke out at the table. I felt like they were laughing at me, and it weighed heavily on me. When I returned from the restroom, I didn't go back to the previous table. I sat in a corner, drinking alone. Then, the woman in the brown dress who was sitting next to me earlier gave me a warm smile. I wished I could strike up a conversation smoothly at times like this, but I was at a loss for words. As I sat there in silence with my glass in hand, she started the conversation.
You're Samuel Davis, right? I overheard earlier, are you a farmer now?
Apparently, she had heard my conversation with Michelle earlier. I felt embarrassed, but she didn't seem to be making fun of me. My grandpa runs a farm, and I hope to take it over someday.
That sounds wonderful.
No, I can only help out a little for now. I was surprised to find myself able to continue the conversation, despite being mumbling. But that time abruptly ended. Michelle had returned.
Samuel, are you hitting on her? Come on, farming folks can't do that.
Laughter echoed throughout the store at her comment. She didn't stop there.
Hey, I heard that farmers eat things like locusts. Is that real? Absolutely not. That's disgusting.
Insulted, my situation kept getting worse and worse. I felt terrible for ruining the mood because of me, especially for the woman in the brown dress. She had the kindness to approach someone like me. I thought about leaving the place. Then, that woman in the brown dress said something unexpected.
I've eaten locusts before.
What?
I've also eaten crickets. They tasted like shrimp and they were really good.
What?
That caused a great commotion. But maybe because she was attractive, her words seemed to have a certain sway over everyone, and the reactions started to change.
I've heard about it too. Eating insects is becoming a trend, right?
I've seen it on TV too, and in some places abroad, they even eat crayfish.
Their opinions suddenly turned positive and started to fly around. Michelle tried to steer the conversation back, but everyone was siding with that brown dress girl, so nobody was listening to Michelle anymore.
Samuel, should we get going soon?
What? Suddenly, I was taken away by that woman in the brown dress. I was not sure what was happening. We walked down the night road. Why did you help me? Also, I'm sorry, I haven't even asked for your name yet. I still couldn't remember who she was. Then she said with a blush,
I'm Jennifer Roberts. Do you remember me?
Jennifer? Wait, that Jennifer? I was in the same class as Jennifer back in 8th grade. At that time, she wore thick glasses with a braid and looked like a serious person. She looked so different now that I was taken aback.
I've always wanted to say thank you, Samuel. That's why I brought you out here.
Thank me? When I asked, she told me she had been a chronic school refuser until 7th grade. When she gathered the courage to attend school in the 8th grade, she got strange looks from her classmates and they talked behind her back.
I thought I really hated school. On the way home that day, I tripped and my bag spilled. I was picking up my things, feeling miserable. Then you, Samuel, who was in the same class, helped me.
I certainly remember that. As I picked up the scattered school supplies, I told her, you know, vegetables don't get tasty unless they get some sunlight.
I didn't understand what you meant then, but later, I realized that you were encouraging me to come to school.
Yeah, that was probably the best wisdom I could use at the time.
I was so happy and felt like going to school again the next day.
Inspired by those words, she made an effort to get out more. Thanks to that, she managed to attend high school. Then she started to care about her appearance to get a job, and was scouted as a model after high school graduation. She appeared in a magazine and now works at an editorial production company.
I don't really suit being in the spotlight. I feel more at ease when I'm behind a desk.
I get it. I'm shy and have trouble dealing with people. It's a waste for a beauty like her, but I understand her feelings. Before I knew it, I was able to talk to her with an open heart. I thought I could avoid people by becoming a farmer, but it doesn't seem to be the case now.
How come?
When I told her the problem my grandpa pointed out, she fell into deep thought. But she soon said, "Samuel, would you show me your work just once?" A few days later, she really came to our farm, also brought a photographer. The collaboration of youth and farming seems to be a popular content these days, and they're apparently planning a special feature. I wasn't sure about the whole thing, but she interviewed my grandpa and me quite extensively. When the article came out, the response seemed to be more than we expected. Thanks to her writing, popularity spread like wildfire, and we started receiving interview requests from other media outlets. I was treated like a man of the hour, and thanks to that, I got used to talking to people. My grandpa praised me, saying, "You've made a good friend." In the middle of all this, an invitation came to a reunion with some of my old classmates. When I went to the bar with Jennifer, I was welcomed with a completely different attitude than before.
Hey, I saw your feature, Samuel. You're doing great.
Weren't you on a morning show recently? Farming looks so different and cool these days.
I was admired and fussed over. It was the first time I'd been treated like this, and I was somewhat taken aback. But then, I realized Michelle, the instigator of all this, was missing. After the party, Jennifer said she wanted to go somewhere, so I followed. And there was Michelle in the bar we walked in. Why is Michelle here?
I called her over. When I was writing your article, I researched local farmers and found her grandfather's name among them.
What? I was surprised by her sudden words, but Michelle continued the story.
My grandpa has also been farming for a long time. My parents were busy, so when I was little, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa.
It seems her grandfather, after stepping down from the president, took up farming, hoping to make a name for himself by only his ability. But things didn't go as planned, and he couldn't grow good vegetables. Back then, Michelle used to accompany her grandfather to the market with their vegetables, but they always had leftovers. She wondered why her beloved grandfather's vegetables didn't sell, and the one always sold out at the same stall were the vegetables grown by a man named James Davis. James Davis, is that my grandpa?
Yes. As a kid, I thought his vegetables were the reason ours didn't sell. Of course, my grandpa never said such a thing. But I wasn't convinced. And when I found out in middle school that you were his grandson, Samuel, I was so frustrated, I bullied you.
But it turns out that wasn't the only reason. She was walking the path her parents had laid out for her. Even if she had something she wanted to be, she was scared of failing like her grandfather.
But Samuel, you chose to be a farmer on your own, and even though you were laughed at, you always tried hard. Even though I get praised a lot, in the end, it's all thanks to my parents or the company, and I can't do anything on my own. Why are we so different?
As she said this, she started crying. I couldn't help but speak up. Is your grandpa still farming?
Yeah.
Can I visit the farm sometime? I want to see what kind of field it is. I'll bring my grandpa along.
Can I join too? There might be something I can help with.
Jennifer also joined. Michelle looked surprised.
Why, even though I've been so mean to you?
I won't deny it was tough, but maybe it's my farmer's blood. I want to see your family's vegetables anyway. Although she had been silent for a while, Michelle wiped away her tears and whispered a small, Thank you. After that, I went with Jennifer and my grandpa to Michelle's grandfather's farm. Grandpa and I gave advice on soil and fertilizer, while Jennifer and Michelle thought about ways to get the word out with their local friends. Sales isn't a competition. Let's work together to boost local farming, Grandpa said, and Michelle happily agreed with a yes. Her face seemed to shine brighter than any expression before. In our teens, we were all naive and immature, often running away because we were scared of failure. But I think if you bathe in the sun, you can get enough nutrients in your heart. Then all you can do is believe in yourself and those around you and move forward. Because there will surely come a time when you will be rewarded. No matter how many years it will take, the day will come when you can cultivate a fruitful life. I believe that